Good morning. Welcome to Spy Money. I'm going to talk a little bit about where I think the market's going to be going next week. I have some mixed emotions about it as far as where I think that we will actually be. And I wanted to share some with you all. See what you all think. And the live chat is open. So if you have any questions or if you have any particular underlyings that you're in question about, let me know. In the last probably, I'd say probably 2 weeks, at least a week, but probably 2 weeks, the metals have been moving more than or actually moving before the NASDAQ and S&P and things like that. So I've got the gold pulled up right now, and it's in a symmetrical triangle. So you have this coming down and you have this trend line coming up. We broke through it a little bit, but it's still pretty much holding this trend line rolling through there. Actually, it's I can move it just a little bit down, probably right there. And what I'm wanting it to do is to actually come up and just ride this trend line and then swoop right on up. There's a thing called a two-legged pullback, and I'm going to go over that and just show you what that is. It is when you take a low from here and then it rallies up, you can mark this trend line, and then what you do is you click on that, you right click it, and you just duplicate it. You get your pointer, and then you just grab a hold of it, and you can drag it where you want. So what you do is you drag it right up to the next one. So as soon as this comes down, usually it's right there because we had this big drop and then it comes up, and it very well still may be right in this area. Just because it went sideways here doesn't mean that it won't go ahead and go up and land in this area. But what I've done is I've taken this trend line and I brought it right over to here. Okay, so I'm going to delete that one because you can see what I've done. And that's how I've got to this fib line. So I've got my fib lines in here, and I started using these fib circles. That's called an arc. If you come down, go to right there, and you do it the same way as you do the fib lines. So if you've taken my courses, you know how to do the fib lines. I'm not going to go into all that right now, but I started using them, and just to see kind of how it would work out. And if you notice, like right here, it stayed right along that edge there. Let me get this zoomed in. And then right here, it went right along that arc right there, and then it's come down, and it started coming up this arc, and then it broke out, so it's coming down to here. What I think will happen is on gold, I believe that this will probably stay right on this trend line and either come right up this one or it will come up this one. And honestly, I would say we come into this is a 4-hour chart. So this is Friday, of course, and then this was going to be Sunday. So it depends on where it's going to break out here. If this breaks down, then I think the market is going to go ahead and go into another sell-off like we had back in February. If it breaks down and continues down here, that's what I think will happen. There's a chance it'll break down, come down to here, and then bounce right back up. But I personally think that we are going to see a market that is not like February, but this is just like a minor pullback. It's went sideways. We got the symmetrical triangle here, and I believe that it will actually take off and go right on up. If it does that, then I think that most people in our Discord group will be pretty happy about it. Last Wednesday, a week and a half ago, I had called out that I felt that we were going to have that drop in the market, and I was telling everybody that you probably ought to go ahead and sell your calls off while they're up and you're in profit, and then possibly buy puts, but I would probably go ahead and sell off the calls. Well, I didn't take my own advice. I sold off a bunch of the options that were expiring within like a week or two, But if they were longer, most of my options are November or later. Right now, I've been out of the office quite a bit, doing other things. I have other businesses, and I had some traveling I had to do for some personal matters, so I've been doing longer options. That way I don't have to trade daily. I don't have to scalp it. So because of that, it actually helped me, but it's kind of hurt me in a way too, because we pulled back more than what I thought we would. I thought we would just kind of come up and pull back at just a little bit and then take off another run, but we didn't. We actually just kept on dropping. So by looking at my metals, that has been my telltale sign of what's going to happen with the market, because usually it's 2 to 4 days, usually 2 to 3, that the market will follow the gold. So if the gold starts dropping, the market's going to start dropping too. Now, in the last few days, when gold starts dropping, the market starts dropping right behind it. It's actually moving concurrently now. But before this actually dropped, you can see gold was already tanking down. This was back in the middle of August when it started coming down. And the market was not doing that. We go back to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was just taking off. So, back here is where gold started kind of falling, and the market just took right off. And if we look at, let me get another one up here so you can see them side by side. Let's see here. Okay, let me go back into study, see your chart. Open this up into the same thing we're looking at. I have different settings that I use, and it actually works. Let's see here, let me go change the time frame. That should work out. There it is. Okay, so if we look at this one, we come down here and we're looking at August the 10th. It's when that one started dropping off. So at August the 10th, and then we come over here, August the 10th, we had just a little bit of a pullback, but not like gold did here. And these are in the same level as far as the, I don't have this expanded out. They're both all in the same, I guess the same, can't think of the word for it. Going from the high to the low, I can't think of the word. My mind just went blank. But if you look at this, you can see that gold had a huge drop here. NASDAQ had a little one. It went from 11, we'll call it 11.3 down to 10.8. So we're looking about 500 points it dropped. Whereas in gold, we dropped 2,090 down to 1875. So we're looking 200 points. Well, 200 points in gold is a lot. Percentage wise, there's a lot more there. So if we look at this, if we go from there to here, that's 10%, whereas from here to there is only just shy of 4%. We'll call it 4%. So gold actually dropped almost 3 times as much, 2.5 times, 250% more than what NASDAQ did. And then NASDAQ just rallied. Well, the gold come down and started rallying back. Let's see if we can get a closer date. Looks like on the 11th it started up again, whereas over here on the 11th it started going back up, but it just kept going, like just a huge bull run there. Whereas gold didn't come all the way back up, whereas NASDAQ just kept on going. So the NASDAQ went up 15%, and the gold went up at 8%. So it went up half as much as what the NASDAQ did. And then when we come back over, we get to the 17th is when it started dropping, and we didn't start dropping until about I think it's the 3rd. Let's see here. Second. is on the 2nd of September when we started getting this big old drop. So the 2nd of September it dropped way down, and then gold has just been kind of going back and forth. So with gold doing that, and it's actually working this symmetrical triangle and holding pretty good to this. I mean, it's staying within that range. Well, we come over to the NASDAQ. Now this is the one thing that makes me think the NASDAQ's going to take off. See this double bottom? You come down, touched it, went up, come down, touched it. What I'm hoping for is a big W for a win. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 will be the win. That's what I think is going to happen. So let me come back over to just this chart. That is what I think is going to happen. We've got a good support back over here. If we look, we've got our channel coming up, then we've got this channel coming down, and then we've got a channel going across. So this is going from the top to the bottom. There's a good chance we may come up and touch this again and then come back down. If we do, then we'd have a triple. So there's 1, 2, 3. So if we have a triple top and it comes down, there's a chance it may just keep right on going. But if we hit a triple bottom with 1, 2, and then we hit a third one here, that's also a good chance it will go up. So a double top or a double bottom is sign reversal. And then if you have a triple top, usually whichever one has the triple first is the winner. Usually you don't have it comes down having 2 triples. So if this comes up and hits this and starts pulling back down, we're probably in for a bear market. If it breaks through this and keeps on going, so if we break through and we get up to say 11.7, so 11,700, if we break 11.7, more than likely we're going to keep on going. Where will we go from there? Well, it depends on, you could do a 2-leg pullback here too, which I know is way out there. But if you look at this from here to there is 1, and then if we do our pointer, get on that, and then if I duplicate that, and then if I bring this one up to here, I know this looks like a lot of room here, but this could very easily happen. Go to a longer, because it's just way out there. Get my charts back. See, it won't even let me go over. Oh, I need my not the time frame, but I need the time axis. So we do 1,000. And what this does, if you go into your settings up here, go to time axis, and you change that, the more numbers, the more candles. So 1,000 means that there's 1,000 candles that can go past, and that's how you get your charting. So that would put us to right there. Now, this is not a definite, but that is a possibility. Now, it took us 6 months or so to get from that bottom to here. So this is looking at 6 months. If the election is our kind of our hold up right now, the Democrats are upset with the Republicans and vice versa. So the Democrats are wanting to hold back the stimulus money because they know that when that stimulus passes, that the market is going to rage. And the Democrats do not want that, because if the market starts going up, then that's almost a shoo-in for Trump to win, and they don't want to do that. So right now it's kind of undecided what they're going to do. I personally think that someone's going to cave. I don't believe that Trump is going to allow the market to keep on crashing, especially right now. And I even said this back in March when we had that crash. I didn't think that Trump would allow that to keep on going, and the Federal Reserve jumped in, which that's what they always do. But I think this little pullback right here, back in February, March, is the Federal Reserve taking all the money that they put into the market over the course from October on. So when this little pullback come in, the Feds come in and started pumping the market. And then they went ahead and sold off all their shares and everything that they had in the market to make money. So as they're selling, and then they get down here, and this is about when, I can't remember the guy's name, but he got on there crying on all the networks talking about how the market's going to crash and this and that, and that we're doomed to fail. Well, then everybody sold off, and what he was doing was he had already been shorting the market, and then when they started selling off, it dropped hard, and then he went ahead and started buying here. Well, the Federal Reserve jumped in, and the S&P 500 went up 315 points in like a 24-hour period. So, and that's what these two candles are. So he made like almost $3 billion right here, just shorting the market. And then he's the same guy that shorted the housing market back in '08 and made all that money. Same hedge fund. So the market has come up, and it's just been on such a bull run. They had to have a pullback. Now, typically a pullback will come back about halfway, which would be back to right here, which is 97.63. Will it come there? It possibly might, and I hope it doesn't. But if it does, then I'm just going to load up on puts, and I'm just going to write it down, and I'll make a bunch of money there. I never got in a lot of puts here, namely because I did not think that it was going to come back this far. I should have. I did ride some puts, and I made some money there, but I'm still holding some calls in here that I had bought rolling through, probably rolling through here. So what I'm hoping for is that the market does reverse and come back up to where I can get my calls to where they're going to work out better. So that's on the NASDAQ. And if we go to ES, which is the S&P 500, and a lot of people don't know, but ES is like the granddaddy of the S&P 500. And underneath that, you have the SPX, which is the stock. So this is the future, and then SPX is the stock. SPY is the ETF. This is the one you want to watch, just the same as the NASDAQ. On the NASDAQ, you have, the NASDAQ is here. Then you have the, which is NQ. Then you have, I can't even think of the stock now. My mind just went blank. But the QQQ, TQQQ, and SQQQ are the ETFs of it. So if you go like, here's the ETF of it, and that's usually what I would trade in the equities. Now, when I'm in the futures, I trade on the NQ. And the reason I would trade the futures over the ETFs and so forth is the future you have less tax on. So if you trade, say you trade Apple stock and you're trading options on it, you're going to pay ordinary income if you're just on a regular sole proprietor. So you're going to pay ordinary income. So if your tax bracket is 30%, that's what you're going to pay on the total profit. Where on a future, you're going to pay 15% for the first 60% of winning. So if you made $1,000, the first 60% is going to be at 15%, and so that's what, $750 if I did my math right. Let's see, no, it'd be $900. $900 you'll pay in tax, and then the last 40% you'll pay ordinary income. So the last 40% will be $400. So you pay 30% of that. Whereas the futures, you're going to pay less taxes. As far as making money, you can make the same amount of money percentage-wise, but your taxes are going to be a lot less. So that's one good reason to get into that. Also, there's no PDT on futures, so you can trade unlimited times. So you don't have to have your 25,000 in your account. Also, you can trade 23 hours a day. So that's why I trade futures mainly. I kind of get bored with it, and I'll jump over to equities. I'll trade some Apple, Facebook, stuff like that, Tesla, and I stay a little bit in there, and then I'll jump back and just keep on trading the futures. I get tired of trading the same thing over and over, and I'll switch back and forth. So as far as your NQ, that's what happens with it. Now your ES, I believe it's going to be the same thing. As you can see, this is a weekly trend right here, and we went through, we double topped, and we pulled back. So we were in need for a pullback, just like we were here. Now what concerns me is, see how we pull back and then we just kind of pull back here a little bit, and that's called the two level, the two leg. So if you have a leg right there, and then if we come back in, if we duplicate that and then we come back down, then that's going to put us about right here. We actually went further, but if you look at this one, it's pretty close, to where it was. It dropped down, but then it pulled back again. And if we look at this on a 4-hour, you can see it a little better. There we go. If we go back on the 4-hour, a little closer, we were close to it. It dropped down a little bit, but it was pretty close. And then if we go ahead and duplicate this one again, just to see where it actually went, and that put us pretty close to where it was. So if you look at this one, those legs are all about the same. Okay, so now if we come back to our market today, then we could actually see, let's see here, this one was there, and then if we duplicate that, so it went right down to this point here. So it come down, it had a little pullback there, but it still come down to about there. But where we're double topping or double bottom, that makes me think that we're going to reverse here. That's a reversal signal. If we come back down to February or March, we never really had that double top or double bottom. When it come down, it hit, come back up, and then it just shot through. So we never did any double bottoms until we got down here, and you can see there's a triple right off that bottom, and we come right back on up. And now this is a 4-hour chart. Now if we look at a daily chart, and we go back to that same time period, you can see that we come right down, come up, and then we just come right on through. We never stopped and then pulled back. We just come straight through. Same thing down here. We went down here. This is actually a bearish candle right there on a daily, but it actually took off and went bullish on it. So this is even a trick right here. I mean, that was a bearish candle. And if we come back to where we are today, if we look at the 4-hour, we come down, we touch there, and then we come back up. It really kind of depends on what happens when we open tomorrow. If we open tomorrow and this breaks this right here and keeps on going, then we're going for another down ride. That's where I think we'll be. Now, if we come back to the 4-hour on this one, but again, it all depends on what the metals are doing. That's really kind of where I've been following. And then if we duplicate that one again, we come back down. So if this isn't in fact the case, then we are looking, our next stop is probably going to be here, which is a support line there. So if we look at this one, we can see right there. So that will put us back into that same area of the baseline is what I call it, a zone area where you have a lot of buying and selling. So there's a good chance that we may come back down to here. So if we come down to here, then we're going to have a pullback, I'm sure. But are we going to have a reversal, or are we going to just have a pullback for another downtrend? There's a good chance that we come all the way down to the bottom trend again, which would be to here. There's that chance that that could happen. We have this one come down, we went right back up, hit the trend. We could easily sell off to there. I just don't think we will, but there's that chance we will. And the only reason I don't think we will is because Trump does not want us to have a market in a downturn like that while he's trying to run for re-election. If you look at this one, the weekly is still showing, that's a strong bearish candle. You have this double top up here. This is a bearish engulfing. So it's coming down. We are hitting our 8 here. There's a good chance we might come up. There's really kind of depends on Sunday's market what we're going to do. If it weren't for Trump's re-election, I would say that we would probably just keep on going. But I just don't think that he's going to allow the elite to bottom out the market that he's bragging so much about today. Whether you like him or not, it does play a big influence on it. And the Dems are actually holding back the stimulus until after election. It's what they're trying to do because, again, they know that as soon as that stimulus is passed, this market is going to rage. So that's where we are with that. And I had a couple of stocks on here. I know a lot of people like Tesla, where you all think it's going and so forth. And if we go back to the 4-hour on Tesla, I personally think that Tesla has already hit the bottom here, and I think that it's probably just going to go like this. Now, if Tesla takes off up this curve, and you can see the line that I've got there, and this is one of those two-leg pullbacks, and you can see this is where I thought it was going to go. And if without moving that, I thought it was going to be more of a sell-off to this area, but right there is where I wanted it. So I put those there just so we can keep an eye on it, and then I'm going to drag this one over to right there. That's where I thought we were going to sell off, and for the most part we did. We went through that area, but this is kind of where everything's going. And I drew this out last week when I had this zone area put in there. And I had that based on fibs and some other things that I had done, just trying to figure out where we were going to go, using the two legs and so forth. And then right now, it looks like, in my opinion, our next stop is going to be 592. And I think it's probably going to ride along through here, right in this area. That's where let me back that up. So I think we will just stay right along through here. Not exactly on this line, but yeah, it'll probably pull back and forth up through here. So it looks like to me that we are going to probably have a good rage either Monday or Tuesday. This is going to be Monday. This is going to be Tuesday. And I think that more than likely, I think we'll probably rage on Monday. It's really kind of depending on that gold, what the metals are doing. And one thing I didn't show you was the silver. Silver, I've got marked out that I think that we will probably go round through here. When we come up, will we break through here or come back down? I think we'll break out. My personal opinion is that's our next area of where we're going, up there. And how I got that is based off of just overall trend of the market. But I think that's where we're going to go, and that's a long ways off. That's toward the end of the year. I think that's where we'll be with gold. So with gold, that's my projection, and I'll leave that there. Or silver, I'm sorry, not gold. With silver, I think that's where we'll be, and probably by the end of the year. So I'm long. I have long options on silver, and I'm going to keep those as long as the market keeps going the way it's going. Then I'll probably add to them. But I've got some January calls on it now, and as those make money, I'll sell them off, and then I'll buy some through like March or something like that. No matter who gets to be a president, I think the market's going to go up. The market's controlled by the banks. There's 12 banks. That's who actually is in charge of the Federal Reserve. It's not the government. It's the Federal Reserve. There's an article on my Facebook that I put on there earlier today that was talking about how the Federal Reserve, came to pass. So you might want to look at that. Let's see. So we looked at Tesla, what I thought of it. Everybody knows I trade Walmart, and I had this marked out where it would sell off all the way down to here. So I'm looking to jump back in around the 130 30s somewhere through there, and then I'll get in calls and write it up. I had some puts in it, and I sold my puts. I believe I sold my puts on this day here because I wrote it for several days, and then when I saw this coming up, I just kind of thought that possibly it might reverse because Walmart has been so temperamental lately, and it's been hard to follow. So I ended up selling it. I made a good amount of money on it. It'd been nice if I'd have held them longer, but I didn't. And I think that we're going to come down into the 133 area. Our 200 is going to be there as well. So, maybe Monday. I think we'll probably end up selling off till then. And then at that point, I'm going to jump in long calls. I had this drawn for quite a while. And if you look at this one, to give you an idea of those two legs, you have one leg here, and then it usually comes back about 50%. And this same one, all I did was just copied it over here. And we did have a little pullback, and that's the same as I was saying with the gold earlier. You may come over, but it's going to eventually come up to this point. So we actually almost went up to the 618 fib, almost touched it, and then we ended up selling off. So I had calls on this part, and I sold them off just before we got to the 50% because I felt that that's where we were going to burst. So I sold them, made money there, and then I got in puts, and I made money down about halfway. I wasn't real sure if Walmart would continue to sell off was my issue. I couldn't trust it. As you can see, this was where I had it marked. I thought it was going to be a slower sell-off, but it actually sold off pretty quick. I wish I would have held my puts, but I didn't. You can still scalp these as far as coming down. I do believe that we're going to be in the 133 range. We might get one more day of sell-off, and then I'm going to go ahead and go into calls. You can see our MACD is actually bottomed out now. RSI is getting ready to touch the bottom. But if you look in the past, it never does get in the red. Right there it did. But for the most part, it never touches the red. It gets real close. And you can even draw a price level tool. And it looks like right there, let me zoom this in. So back to the pointer here. Let's see here, right there's more along through there. So we're there now. That's not to say it won't keep on going, because I think it will. I think we're going to sell off a little more. But your RSI is actually at the bottom now. So with that at the bottom, I think that maybe one more day of sell-off, and then we will go ahead and reverse and come back up. So that's where I think we are with Walmart. Now, when it does, where are we going to go? Well, if we take this one and duplicate it, and we come back over, actually it would be about right there. Now where are we going from there? And that magically happens right at the 200. So that's probably where we're going to be, right on through here. So we're going to leave this one up there. And I'll leave that there, and let's just see if we actually get there. Now, according to our two legs, that could very easily happen. And as far as the halfway mark, only thing I did was took this one and brought it over to here, and that put to there. It's not necessarily how far away, but it's the level that we hit, and that's what we're looking for. So that's it on Walmart, and let's see, I'll do one or two more. We have a lot of people trade Microsoft. Microsoft is in kind of the same boat as the rest of them. And if we go, Microsoft sold off hard. It's the exact image of the NASDAQ. And there's our trend line. That wasn't a two leg that was drawn, but that was a trend line. And then notice how, we hit the bottom here. We hit several bottoms there. We come back over, and we come up and retested the bottom of that, come down, come up, and then we topped out. We double topped there, and then we sold off more. Now we're double top down here, or double bottom down here. I personally think that the market's going to go up. I really hope it does. I've got money set aside, and I'm wanting to dump in a bunch on calls on this next rage that we have, the next rally. So Microsoft, I would say that that's probably where we're going to be. If we have, say from here to there, and then, well, we can't go by that now because this leg is actually gone, so we can't use that anymore because now we're on a new one. So we will have to wait on this next one to take off, and as soon as it gets to the top, then we can come up back about halfway and put our bottom for the pullback, and then we can take this run and then go to the next. Now, when we do take off, I do believe that we will take off further than this one here. I don't think we're going to come halfway, pull back, and then take off. I think that when it runs, it's going to run hard. And this very well may be, if we go back to a daily chart and look at it, this could actually be, if we look at the daily, there's our daily, and then if we duplicate that one, and then if we brought this one to there, let's just say that was the bottom. If that is, then that's what we'd be looking at. Now, just for giggles, let's draw this in here and just see what happens. Let's see here. That's only 1 day apart, so let's make it a little bit bigger. Try to give me a little room in there. So, but that's saying March. And that's kind of going in line with what I've said on the other stuff. It's basically the same thing. So it looks like we're getting that pullback, and then by March we're going to have completely new highs. So as soon as we start, we get our pullback and we get the confirmation that we are on that bull run, then I'm going to go ahead and load up. I'm going to go long. I may buy March calls. Just buy something that's way out there, let it run, where I don't have to do a lot of trading on it. So if I do that, then I can sell and I can take some profit, and then I can turn right around and buy some more. Maybe I just buy 60-day calls, 45 to 60-day calls, and let it ride for like a week or two at a time. And then once I do that and it's up in profit, sell it, do the same thing again, and maybe take some of that and buy 6-month calls or a year call or whichever. So you don't have to trade every day. A lot of people think you do, but you don't. And if we do it this way, then we can make some money and not have to sit there and watch it. You can go on vacation, go spend time with your family or whichever. So and I do have a one course that I just posted, and it's talking about how to work a full-time job and be able to trade. And I go over the details on how to do that, and that would actually help you out. And different option courses, scalping and so forth. There's one just basic on options, on what are options, how to trade options, and so forth. Not necessarily the strategy, but just how how to buy them, what to look for, and so forth. So a lot of good courses on there. We run a 15% off over Labor Day weekend, and sold a lot of courses. A lot of people saved some money on that. But the courses are $199 a piece at the current time. Very cheap. You can make that, in one course you can make that money back in one trade really easy. And so I keep the courses down, inexpensive to where people can afford them and be able to take more courses. So work on the Walmart mentality, keep prices low. So we have Microsoft is there. Let me look here. INTC, Intel, that is one I'm in right now. This is where it's going, I believe. And we had this big old drop, and before the market sold off, we were doing really well, and I thought that it would probably just stay right on track to there, but ended up pulling back, broke through this channel. But I see it actually taking off again. As soon as I start seeing the market change, I'm going to buy a bunch of this, because our next target is going to be back to the 59.47. That's where 618 fib is, and that's also to complete the cup and handle. So I can't draw a cup and handle, but if you start here, you come down and it comes right back up. As soon as it starts going up, it's going to be just like this here. There's not going to be time to get in it. It's going to happen like 1 to 2 days. This thing is just going to shoot up. So I bought long calls on it, and I'm just holding out on it. I'm still green on my calls, and but I'm not selling right now. I'm just going to let it go on. So I believe that we're going to be good on Intel. It's in this symmetrical triangle, and you can see that it stayed true to it. It might drop down to right here, but as soon as it does, it's going to come straight up. You can see this one here. If we do a trend line on it from here to there, and let's just say that it actually did do that, that would put us back to a double top, which I think could easily do. You don't have to stop there. Once it breaks through the symmetrical triangle, it's gone, and I will be long on it again. I'll probably sell off up in here, maybe even up in here. I'll sell off and then just buy some longer options, because the options I have now, most of them are in November on this, because I had planned on keeping it for a while. And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. Intel, I'm long on. I think it's going to do real well. What I've been trading lately is Jets. I had this marked, and before, I thought what I was thinking was we have our leg here. See, that's putting us to there. It could easily overshoot it, but it could also just go right up through here, hit that, come right back down, and then go on up. So we're looking, if we did that, and let's see here. So we did from there to there. See, that's keeping us in the channel. And then if I duplicate that one, so that's putting us to there. And it don't have to be like this. It's not going to necessarily go up and down like this, but this is just give an idea of where we could be. Alright, so that puts us above there. So it looks like that this one is not going to work out. So I'm going to put this one to here, and then I'm going to put to there. And let's just see how this actually plays out. I'll leave these on here, and let's just see if the charting works out that way. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be like this. I think it's, when it goes through, it's probably going to just keep right on going, because you've got this big old drop here. So this could be, it's not really a cup and handle now because we have that. It would have been a cup and handle if this would have come down and then just shot straight up here. That would be more in line with the cup and handle. But with where we are right now, I don't see it stair-stepping like this. I think it's, once it takes off, it's probably going to be more of a longer run. So how this is going up now, we can actually draw this trend line. We could bring this, see, we are right there. So with it going, we can easily just stay along this trend line, and it just kind of weave up and down. I think we're probably going to be more like that than just this zigzag pattern. So Jets, I'm long on. It's not going to be long before people start flying more than what they were. So I believe that Jets will actually take off, literally take off. And I made some money on this, but it was going up and down so much through here, because I bought my calls, I think, right on through here. And I bought American Airlines, AAL, and Jets. Jets is just an ETF for all the airlines. So if you just want to trade one, Jets is the one to trade, because whatever Jets does, AOL and DOL and all that stuff, they all go the same. So you can just buy Jets and just be done with it. So I went ahead and sold it for profit because I got kind of tired of waiting around on it. And if you look, it was just up and down, and so I got rid of it. I think it was, I think it was on this candle here where I sold it. It might have been this one. No, it was this one. I sold at the top of this candle, and then it dropped. I didn't buy puts because I was afraid that it would take off on me. I will be buying puts on it, or buy calls on it this week. When I buy the calls, I will buy those long and just hold them, because this is not a fast runner right now. But when it does go to take off, it's going to be like this, and it's just going to be out of sight. When this happens, your IB is going to be really high. If you go right now and look at your IB, IB is, let's say if you bought, actually if you bought October, I wouldn't buy those right now, but see, your IB is high. You want that under 50%. 30% or so is ideal. And if we go to say December, look at the IB on this. It's high because people know that it's going to go up, and they're selling premiums. 60% on January 2022. But honestly, if you just bought one of those, let's just say you come down into the bottom. Let's see if we go back to the chart and we look. I mean, 32 would be back to where we were. So, I mean, it hasn't even gone back to where, even a third of the way to where we were. So, if you bought planned on 32, if you come down here, you can buy, say, the 35s for $1.40, and which would be $140. So if you bought one of those at $140, by the time it gets up there, see, we are at 17, so that's going to be $12, $13, $14. So that'd be 21. So that puts us about right here. That would say almost 3 times profit. Probably 300% profit. But actually, I think it would be more than that, because when it starts moving, these numbers are going to calculate a lot more. But if you bought one from back in January 22 for 140, if you bought March, that would be the better one. March, you're going to be back there, I'm sure, and you can buy those for 30. Well, probably it's 15, 30, so you might be able to get them for like $25 a call. That would be the one that I think would be the best one to buy. Or you could jump up to this one and buy these, the 30. And if you bought the 30, I think the 30 might be a little better. It's a little more expensive. You got more people there buying. It's more contracts, more open interest. But for the money, I think I'd buy the 35s and just hold on to them. And I might do that on Monday or Tuesday. I might buy me like, maybe, so if I bought like 30 of them or so. So 30, if I bought them at, say, 20 cents, is $600. So if I bought those, and let's just say it did go to where I'm thinking, which would be 21 away. So that's going to be, 14? No. 7, 6, 18 and 32 would be 12, 14. So that would be 21. So that would put them at $2.10. So your $25 calls would be worth about $200. So that would be a better percentage, providing that Jets actually goes up there. So this is one that I'll probably put in an order for next week. I want to wait and see where it goes down, but I think your March of 21, which is going to give you 188 days, so you can sell those. You need to sell them within 5 months. So if you sell them within 5 months, then you'd still have good value. Your theta wouldn't be hurting you. So a long option, that would be a good one. And so there's a free one on YouTube. I bought Hess. It's actually dropped on me, and I thought that it would actually run right up this line and go to there, but it actually dropped down. We are now in a triple bottom, I guess you call it. We're at the support. So with everything being at the support and so forth, I think that it seems like everything is wanting to go up. If it drops out of here, then I think we're in trouble, personally. Now, one thing about this one is you have a trend line that goes from here down to here, not a trend line, but a leg. And then if you duplicate that one, come over, there's a chance that this could come down to this one, and that actually lands on that arc as well. So there's a chance that we could come down to this little area of support. If I draw this one out, there's a good chance that we might come down to there. I just think that it's going to go up. Oil has been dropping the last week, and that's what's hurt Hess, because it's a petroleum. So that's actually hurt it. I think that if CL will actually take off again, which I quit even looking at oil for the longest time, but you can see where it's actually dropped out. There is a chance that this will keep on going, and if we draw this one out to right there, that's going to put it, I mean, that's going to put this one on back to what it happened back in, I think it was May, when people were actually paying to get rid of the oil. But I feel that we'll just have a small pullback here, and so we could even draw a leg from here up to, say, here. And then if we actually did pull back a little bit, then you could take this, duplicate it, and take it on up to there. So I just don't think oil is going to stay down very much longer. We hit that 200, it kind of fell out. We could easily pull right back out of here and take off on that. I'll leave that there, just to look at in the future. It won't hurt my charting. I don't even play with the oil much. I used to, and I quit doing it. Natural gas is another one that I haven't played in a long time. And let's see where we are with it. There we are. This is where I thought we were going. I was saying this last February or March, I think it was. This is the little spot that I thought we were going. And you know what? We almost hit it. And we were, see, this would have been, and I even said back then that I didn't think we'd hit this in July. I thought it'd be more October. But there is July. And we got real close to it a month later, like a month and a half later. So I was actually pretty close to it, and the trend, you know, it made me happy that my trend lines were actually working. The charts that I had drawn out, and if y'all remember, we were actually going back. We had this big trend, and then we had this little trend, and I was thinking we would hit this one. If not, we might break through and hit that one. So we're kind of still there, but see where we actually come up. Our RSI is oversold, start selling off. This is another good sign that the market is going to go up, because usually natural gas will go up when the market's going down. And when natural gas is going down, the market's usually going up. So this is another good sign that there's, you know, a chance that we may get the market to keep on going. So natural gas has its own little thing going, but usually that's what will happen with it. And so if we would just got in long calls here and just stayed in them, we would have made a ton of money. I quit watching natural gas for a while. I got sidetracked, got tired of trading it. But if I would have stuck to my plan, we had this drop, we had a base, and we had a rally, and we double topped. You can see, because right across through here, we actually double topped it, and then we're coming back down. Will we continue down? I think we will. There's a chance we might come up and touch this trend line and then come down, but for the most part, I think natural gas will probably sell off. It sold off all last winter, and everybody got crushed on it because they were trading UGAS. I don't even think UGAS is even available now. I think they canceled it. They did. And DGAS. Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, I don't know what they are now. I don't trade those. But with the natural gas, everybody was trading UGAS, and they were buying calls on it for the long haul, and the market just kept on tanking. As you can see right here, see this is October 28th, and it sold off all winter. So the people that bought DGAS calls made money. And then the same thing here. I'm just not sure what the ETFs are on those anymore. If you all know, post it on the live chat there. And let's see, the Russell's been selling off. So with the Russell pulling back right here, it dropped out of that channel. Kind of makes me a little concerned what it's going to do. If we go back to the daily, and just pulled right on out. If I got my channel right, I can adjust that. If I go from here, it's not really that one. Yeah, it fell right out of that channel. Yeah, we're all through there. So it fell right out of that channel. So there's a good chance it may come down, bounce right off of the 1421, and or keep on going. We'll just have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. We're almost an hour into this. Facebook is kind of doing the same thing the market is. It's not really doing anything different. Having this channel tells me it's probably going to come down to probably around the 260 range, and when it hits that, I think it'll pull up. So a lot of charting across the board, because most everything just follows the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, depending on what it is, and most of the charting shows that a reversal is going to happen first of the week. So I think Sunday we may get a sell-off, and then Monday it'll probably start pulling back, just based on all the charting I've looked at. And if it hits right here, that would also be the arc. So it would come down, hit that, and then just take off, and then it could run. I had a marking of right there, but that's going to change now because this line here. So if you do a two-leg on it as well, and then come in, duplicate that, and then if we put this to here, that's going to put us about right there. So I'm going to move this. Oops. I'm going to move this to right there. I think that's where we're probably going to go. Either here or there, one of the two. I'm going to leave it there though. So we'll see what happens, but it'll be based off of where this finally reverses. If it reverses there, that's where we'll be. It may come on down to this line here. It can very easily do, and if it did that, let's see here, nothing really comes back to the 618, but I'm gonna leave it right there. I think that's probably where we'll end up being. And let me look through here if there's anything that stands out to me. Snap has been doing real well through the whole thing. Snap is one I called out in our Discord group and told people that I felt calls were good for it for a long time. So right now we're in this little cup right here. So I'm thinking that we'll probably come up to rolling through there. And if I mark that, let's see, actually probably. On through here, more than likely we'll overshoot that, hit that, and when we do, we'll probably pull back down to here and then take off. So for the next few days, I mean, this is a daily chart. Next few days, I think Snap is good. That's one I would get in. I wanted to show you the VIX, and that's going to be my last one. The VIX, I ended up buying puts right here, and I rode them all the way down to. Let's see, where did I ride those? No, I take that back. I bought puts. I bought puts right here on this one. Yes, and then when I bought puts there, no, it was here, right there. Sorry, I bought puts on this right here, and then when it started selling off, come down. This was my target that I was looking for, based off of where the 200 was going to be. I ended up selling those, I believe, wrong through here, and then I ended up buying some more puts over in here, and I sold those puts on Thursday. So this would have been Friday, Thursday. I've sold them on the bottom of this day here. So if I go into a 15-minute chart, and I'll show you why I sold those. So I bought them wrong through here, and I went ahead and carried them. It went up on me, come back down, and once it hit this zone area here, I knew that it was probably going to keep on going. As soon as we broke out of that, I was pretty confident. We come down, and I sold my puts right here, and then it took them right on up after I sold them. So I was happy that I sold where I did. Actually, I sold them. I either sold them on this dip or this dip. I can't remember which one. I think it was on this one. Yeah, it was at around 10:30 when I sold them. So I sold them on through here, which I was really glad I did. I wish I'd have bought them again at the end of the day, but I wasn't real sure of the market. I wasn't following pretty good, so I went ahead and just stayed out. If I'd have bought them again there, then that would have been another good run. Where do I think it's going to go? Well, based on the VIX or VXX selling off, I believe we're going to be down in this range here. And if we do a trend to where we are right there to say right here, and then if we duplicate that, and that's going to put us pretty close to where this channel is. So if we bring this one down, right there, and then if I take this one, actually it's probably right there. So this should come right down into there. Actually, let me change that a little bit. I don't like the way that thing looked. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I'm not going by this up here. I'm going by down through here, because it looks like it's stepped up and then come into a new channel. The top trend is the same, but the bottom is different. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at right there. So I'm looking at the top. These are hitting the top of it, and we've hit one right there. Some of these are hit. So if I look and get closer, you can see how these are kind of interacting with that area, hitting the bottom of it. Then we come back down here, and we're hitting the bottom there. So I feel pretty comfortable with that trend right there. So that would put us down in this range here, and I'm hoping that this actually plays out to that area. So long puts are probably in good, pretty good for that. Well, I'm going to cut this one off now. It's been an hour. It's a long one. I wanted y'all to kind of see like an overall market of what we're doing. Looking at the VIX, how it's selling off. Looking at how the metals are trying to reverse now and go up. With the metals going up, the VIX coming down, that tells me the market is ready to rage again. We may consolidate here the next couple days, but I think the long run, I think we're headed back up. So that's my thought on this. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please give me a like. Also, take a look at our website. A lot of good information on there, and should be able to help you. Thanks, Bruce, for being on here. Yeah, study those courses. Learn the charting. There's a lot to learn on charting, guys, and I'm not by no means the best ever. I never said that. I do a really good job charting. I explain what I know about charting, and as I learn, I add more to the charting courses. Matter of fact, all of our courses are updated as the more I learn, because no one knows everything. So, guys, you all have a good day and enjoy your weekend. Study up. If you don't have a course, look on there, see what you can get into, and we'll go from there. Have a great day, guys.